Excuse me. Yeah. I know I love you, dear, because you're you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Party Broadway World podcast. I'm your host, Haley, and today we are talking to Stephanie Lexis, who is the creator of B-Way Body Positivity. And she's going to talk to us a little bit about that, and she's going to talk to us about her masterclass and her Facebook group that she started. So let us welcome her in.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right.
Okay, thank you for agreeing to come on the podcast.
Mhm.
I came into your live and that's how we met. I
Yes,
believe. Yes. So tell me a little bit about your TikTok, because your TikTok was I've been looking at your TikTok and it's very fascinating. It's like just the name and everything.
thank you. Well, Broadway Body Positivity Project itself started about 5.5 years ago in January of 2019.
Mhm.
And I created it in response to all of the fat phobia, ableism, and all other forms of discrimination and shaming towards actors of various body types and identities in the entertainment industry. I first started on Facebook and then Instagram, and then I finally joined TikTok like 3 years later, or 3 years later. And yeah, it's definitely taken on a life of its own beyond what I had originally intended, because it was originally just supposed to be created to amplify a photo and music video shoot that I was doing for plus size ingenues. And then it ended up becoming an actual business where I do audition coaching and master classes and lectures and advocacy, and like kind of serve as a liaison sometimes between industry professionals and the actors.
Right. Because when I first came across your profile and everything, and I saw I was looking at about this project, I was just like, that's really interesting. Like I never would have thought, that would be something, as a problem. I never thought about it because it's theater, so it's like I never it never really gave me a second thought of like, oh crap, like yeah, there are problems within the industry for plus size women and men.
Yeah. And then all the other intersecting issues, with ableism, racism, transphobia, all those other things.
Yeah. And I think that too is like, why some people like, because there's just so many issues as a whole. They can't, they can only like focus on like one at a time, and they just forget about all the others. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally understand. And I have to admit, though, I'm not an expert on everything that I advocate for. I would say that most of the things I do talk about are size related, but I've been trying to like bring in more voices in other communities that in which I do not have lived experience.
Right. So tell me about a little bit more about your master classes and everything.
Yeah, so I started doing master classes last year. The first one I did was at Broadway Con with my friend Marcus Alexander, who was a voice professor and also a performer. And we didn't have a fancy title. It was just called Body Positive Audition Masterclass. And we had, it was a small masterclass, but it was nice. And we did what you would traditionally just do in a master class, focusing on acting through song, but we did it through the lens of body liberation. We'll often see, especially for those of us in larger bodies, sometimes we have a tendency to minimize our physical appearance, or we're too hyper focused on how we look. Even though as actors, we shouldn't be focusing on those things, because it's not about us; it's about what we want. And so I used like exercises that I know, some DBT skills, to really help these performers get out of their shell. And then Marcus focused on also on bodies being out of alignment, because we're trying to minimize the way we look. And they had some great exercises to help align the body, release tension. And then in October of last year, I did a lecture and master class by myself for NYSTA, which is the New York Singing Teachers Association. And the lecture was called Body Liberation in the Voice Studio. And then it was just like Broadway Con, I did a very similar master class. And that was really great, because I really saw breakthroughs with the two performers I worked with. It was just the tiniest little changes, just undoing bad habits that we created in order to make ourselves look more palatable.
And I think I remember too, Marcus was in your TikTok live too, a couple days ago.
They were, yeah.
Yep. And I remember I was like, when your course is ready, you both should come back and interview with me, because I'd love to know more about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like what we did at Broadway Con, but including a lecture. So it's like a combination of what the two things that I did, the one I did with Marcus and the one that I did solo. But basically, the lecture will be talking about how we put our body out of alignment as fat performers, and how can we realign ourselves. We're going to talk about ways to build confidence, both using DBT and just other ideas that we have both come up with. And then the master class will be again a bit about applying the things we talked about in the lecture in the master class. And then the way we're doing it is, I think we're trying to keep it no more than 5 people singing. I think we're charging about $60 for participants, and then $25 for people who want to observe. And then for those who want to observe, they are all guaranteed to ask at least 2 questions. We're not going to the performers, because the performers are getting all this special attention. We're going to reserve the questions for the people who observe, so that's more worth their money. And then we're hoping to do a scholarship, a partial scholarship for one participant, and then maybe a full scholarship and a partial scholarship for 2 observers. And what else were we thinking about that one? And we're also, there's no audition requirements for it. We're just, if you want to participate, you can participate, first come, first serve. And we're also thinking that if there's enough demand, that we might do it maybe on a weekly basis.
Then that leads to my next question is how long is your masterclass for? How many weeks?
It really just depends on demand. A lot of people have expressed interest, but interest and commitment are 2 different things. So I guess first we just have to do it once, and then see if we have people on a wait list, and then we can figure it
out. Okay. All right. Okay. So, and then my next final couple questions is then leading into Broadway itself. What is your favorite show?
Oh gosh, I was lucky to perform in them, and that might be why I'm biased, but it's Ragtime and Into the Woods.
Ooh, I love Into the Woods.
Yes, it's very dear to my heart, and it's one of those shows where I know I can play 5 characters in it if given the opportunity.
Mm,
But I also think Sondheim kind of lends itself well to versatility. Like I like same with Sweeney Todd. Like I could see myself playing multiple roles. I could see other people
mm,
playing multiple roles for both of those shows or company or whatever. So I think
yeah, definitely.
I think that's why his legacy endures so much. So
Hmm. I'm partial to Jagged Little Pill and
mhm.
Phantom of the Opera myself. Like
Okay.
I love Phantom of the Opera just because that was my first show, but also like I feel like Andrew Lloyd Webber is a genius
Hmm.
in some of his shows. I say some of his shows, Bad Cinderella was a nightmare, but you know.
I'm really looking forward to Sunset Boulevard.
Oh yeah.
I love Nicole Scherzinger, and I so as a kid, like my grandmother had like oh my god, it sounds ancient, but a cassette of like the best ALW songs, and yet like you, Phantom of the Opera is near and dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also very drawn to Sunset Boulevard, and I think Nicole's just gonna do great. It's gonna be like a really fresh take. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like in my personal opinion, Bad Cinderella was just kind of not that great.
I didn't really get to see it, and but it looked like those performers they were doing like they were performing their hearts out, and I always feel bad when it like a show closes so soon,
Yeah.
especially just knowing how, because it's not even just the performers, it's front of house, it's the stage managers, the stage hands, and um
Mhm.
you know
Well, I mean, I just read this morning that like Who's Tommy
yeah,
is closing, and I'm like, but that didn't that just open?
when did it open?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it just opened. I feel like it feels like it just opened, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a show I've wanted to get to know better. I mean, I've always known about it, but I've never actually like seen it.
Mm-mm.
That sucks again because people working so hard, just
And Lempicka, that closed. And
yeah.
that closed prematurely.
That was a shame. I really wanted to see that too. Um, and I don't know. I wish there was a way that, I think one of the issues is that a lot of people can't afford tickets, and you know, how I don't know how tourism is throughout the year.
Mm,
Um, but I'm sure they're more drier seasons, and especially like in the winter, I think it might be a little bit more dry, like January,
mm,
February stuff. So it's just so unpredictable. It really is a big gamble theater,
mhm. Yeah,
at a level.
yeah. I mean, I know that they probably couldn't do this because they have a whole bunch of actors to pay and like and even like the stagehand to pay and everything.
Mm.
But maybe to make it more affordable, like to make it more accessible for people, make shows more affordable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of budgets they're working against. And I imagine I'm not an expert on this, but I if there was a way to reduce operation costs where it's safe,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that'd be great. But I would not, I don't have the answer for that, unfortunately.
No. No, I would have to interview one of them, and that's probably never gonna happen.
You never know.
I know, but yeah, I know.
You'd be surprised. You'd be very surprised. Sometimes you just have to go for it, even just doing something.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, I was shooting my shot and I scored. So sometimes you just have to ask.
Yeah. Um, I don't think like because we just like 2 days ago celebrated our 1 year anniversary of this podcast. So thank you. So I don't think I'm at that level just yet, but I'm gonna get there eventually.
You have to start somewhere. You
Yeah.
know, I was in a very when I let me see, it was my 1 year anniversary for Broadway Bopo, like right before COVID
Mhm.
started. And I'm in a far different place now than I was back then. So um just keep doing what you do, challenge yourself, just reach out to people. You never know.
Yeah. So then you had mentioned earlier that you were in Into the Woods and other in Ragtime, you said?
Yeah, correct.
What other shows have you been, if you can remember?
Yeah, I was in Carousel. I was in The Wizard of Oz. That was like my sort of professional theater debut.
Mhm.
Um, I in high school I did Guys and Dolls and Footloose. Um, I was in I was in a play called Rappaccini's Daughter, based off of the book or the play. I don't remember a while ago. And what else? Just to warn you, I don't know if my power is going to go out because I just. Ooh, there. Okay, it's very windy out there. All right,
Okay.
we may lose connection. Just to warn
Okay.
you. I just heard
Um,
something. Oh my god, it's been bad. I don't know where are you based?
I'm in Michigan.
Okay, I'm in New Jersey, and we've been having like a heat wave.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry. Like, are you editing this? Because I literally heard.
Yeah, I edited this.
Our like a garbage, like the garbage thing, like toppled over. But either way, so yeah, so that's crazy. Oh my god, we've been having crazy weather, and I do think climate change is wide. but but other shows I've done. Okay, 1 second. All right. I did a lot of opera growing up.
Yep.
Actually, not a lot. I did some opera growing up. I was involved in a local opera company. We did, excuse my German pronunciation, but Der Freischütz, which is the free shooter. It's actually a pretty good opera. And then I was in Hansel and Gretel. Both of those were done in English. And what else did I? What else was I in growing up? Because I haven't really done shows since college because I just a lot of things happened personally, and I wanted to focus on other creative ventures. I was in a music video in 2018, and there is a connection to Broadway with that one actually. So in 2018, I was in My Brightest Diamonds music video. It's me on the dance floor, and My Brightest Diamond is the name of the musical act for Sharon Nova, and she was just in Illinois. Um, so her
I-
last performance was on the Tony Awards this year.
That's what I was wondering, because I was like, they announced Illinois as a winner, didn't they? Did
For,
she win? Did she win or did no?
for,
Was
for
she not?
no. It's an ensemble cast, so I don't think they were giving awards for like acting for that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Justin Peck won for best choreography for Illinois.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Sharon Nova, she has performed with Sufjan Stevens in throughout her musical career, and as you may know, Illinois is an album by Sufjan Stevens, so they go way back. That's actually how I learned about her, because I was a fan of Sufjan Stevens in college, still am, but I met her at that night at a NYSTA event, not the one where I was doing the lecture, but it was for my class where I was participating, and I saw her and I was like, that's My Brightest Diamond. And yeah, and she was just made her Broadway debut this year. So
Man, that's another milestone of mine with this podcast. Like going to the Tonys and covering that.
Yeah, no, definitely, like, go for it. I mean, like I said, you miss what is the how does the phrase go? You miss all the shots that you
don't take.
Don't take. Exactly. Really, I mean, what's the worst they're gonna do? Just say no, right?
Just say no.
They're not gonna be like, they're not gonna shun you. Like, how dare you send me an email?
Oh my goodness.
If that's the case, are those people you want to work with?
Yeah. Oh, well, then speaking of the Tonys, so I assume that you watched it then.
Yes, I watched it with my grandmother. We've been watching it almost every year since I was like in middle school or high school. And my grandfather, before he died, would also watch it with us. And it's in my what's funny is my grandmother was saying, like, she's like, Stephanie, I don't know about the shows this year, and so I had to explain to her a lot of them, but she recognized some people from like her time. And
I personally think that Ariana DeBose kills it every single year that she hosts.
I think she's so talented. I think she's really great. And you might have seen the post where I was defending her because she was really out of breath.
Yep.
if someone who is so seasoned as her, and as someone who has what people consider a dancer's body could also be out of breath, then there's no reason for people to discriminate against fat people when they're out of breath after a workout. We also don't know if she has certain health conditions that affect her breathing, so I thought it actually started a really great discussion on social media about the way we perceive people's bodies and their health. So
I mean, and I don't know how you perceive this, but like Cabaret, when they performed, I felt a little uncomfortable, and apparently a lot of people are telling me you're supposed to feel that way.
So I do a lot of content creation on like Facebook and TikTok. Like I'm part of the Meta bonus program, the TikTok creativity. Yeah. Those were probably some of my best performing posts in quite some time. And there was a lot of discourse, a lot of people who disagreed with one another, people who were arguing in the comments. But to me, that reminds me why theater is so important, because it gets us talking, gets us thinking, challenging ourselves. I have not even read, I still have to read through like these comments, but I think it really depends on your approach, because there's just so many, there's so many different ways to look at it. Some people were saying he was being directed to be like a marionette, who, I don't know if I don't know if it was to be like a marionette by the Third Reich. I don't know exactly if that's what they meant or not, but like that in a sense was really interesting, especially because he does form the shape of a swastika when he dances, which every time I see the photo of it haunts me. At the same time, like, I'm a humongous fan of Alan Cumming. My mom and I, we just adore Alan Cumming. And I think Alan maybe took a more sensual, sexy approach. Because that is, it is the Kit Kat Club. It's supposed to take you, it's supposed to be a place where you ignore the evil realities of the world. And I understand, I think both interpretations are really valid. I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't seen Cabaret since in millions of years. So I don't remember everything. I only know fragments of it. So I'm not the best to talk about it, but I think the point of doing a revival is to do it differently than how it was done before, especially in the context of the world you're living in. I think whenever you make a revival, you have to ask yourself, why now? And obviously, I think it's safe to say why it's important that it's happening now. Some people were saying like it shouldn't be foreshadowing so soon. It shouldn't be so gloomy. I actually had said I think maybe COVID in some way may have influenced this production, possibly, because the idea that like gloom and doom is around the corner. You could also say it about the atrocities that are like happening in the Middle East. It's like, I like the show. Even though I haven't seen the show in forever, I do like that it's supposed to challenge us. I don't know. I don't know if it is challenging people. I'm not sure. Some people were saying like, it's kind of like ironic that they were performing on the Tony Awards, where people weren't speaking up, about real world events right now. So that's definitely something I'd like to learn more about this particular production.
Yeah. I just thought it was a little like Eddie Redmayne is scary. He's scary in this.
There was definitely an uncanny valley, and I think a lot of it has to do with the makeup. Like it looks like, because I was like looking at pictures of him because I know what he looks like, but then looking at that, and I think maybe they put like some type of like it. This is what it looked like to like my naked eye. It kind of looks like they like made like a thin silicone like foundation or something to like give it like this sheen. But yeah, but honestly though, Joel Gray's MC is also kind of creepy to me. Like I was actually like I thought, let me go look back at the movie production. Honestly, he seemed like a scary ventriloquist man. Like he was a puppet. Like because he would like bug his eyes out and like smile
Mhm.
and it's a different kind of creepy.
I
Um,
just thought it was really creepy of them to have Eddie Redmayne with the close up. That's my thing. It's just
yeah,
like, why
yeah.
the close up?
I think, I think I wonder if that was intentional or not. I mean, of course, they're trying to give you all the best angles. It's interesting when I think it's an art to make live theater play to a camera. I think it's automatically always going to be overwhelming. Um, you know, um, but I think maybe they intentionally did that because they wanted to spark discussion online.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah. Yep.
because because a lot of people wrote about it.
Yeah.
Um, some were kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. Like he's gonna eat your soul. I hope Eddie like, and I'm sure a lot of it was from direction, not his own personal choices. I imagine. I don't know. I don't want to assume, but I like that it sparked discussion.
Can I tell you something though? As soon as you said that, I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking. He's gonna eat my soul. That's exactly what I was thinking. Word for
Yeah,
word.
I the fact that people are still talking about it, you know, I think also says a lot.
Yeah.
So,
I kept
but
talking about it. I kept talking about it. I was like, this was weird. This made me uncomfortable. This is forever burned in my brain. I don't want it to be burned in my brain, but it is burned in my brain.
yeah, I mean, I do think we are living in very dystopian times right now.
Mhm.
And and I think again post COVID, well, we're not even truly post COVID. There's still people getting COVID. Everyone wear your masks, protect yourself, and protect others. Yeah, and I think that it just, and then like, oh, and then with like the 2024 election coming up, and it's the same people, and I don't know if they're going to bring positive change. I can say for one for sure is not. um and
I'm worried about both of them, to be
yeah,
honest. I don't.
same. Same. It's we need like fresh new voices.
Yep.
Sure. And I'm not saying that to be like ageist or anything. I think we just need new ideas. We need people with new ideas, people who are genuinely concerned for the younger generations. But I think like considering like all of these things, they really make for a really dystopian times. And then
Yeah.
AI. Oh, that's another. Oh, that just made me think of something. With the rise of AI,
Mhm.
I mean, AI has like just been like multiplying exponentially. It's frightening, and honestly, Eddie Redmayne kind of had like that AI look, like it.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I know that look somewhere.
Because like so when you see AI art, it usually looks like off.
Yeah.
It like and so um that's actually really interesting to think about because and also AI can there's AI news, AI articles, um and they can deceive and lie and look real,
Mhm.
like how Uncanny Valley can make you think something is real even if it's not, like a
Mhm.
robot.
Because
Because
he didn't even look real. He looked fake. He didn't even look like a real person. I'm like,
yeah,
that's what was so scary to me about it. I was like,
yeah, he looked like a humanoid robot and like
yeah.
a monster that was sentient. you know but like
Eddie Redmayne's gonna take over the world.
yeah. But I was like thinking like even but like with now that I'm thinking about AI, that kind of like makes more sense to me now.
Yeah.
um and because yeah, an AI will spread misinformation, and it's creepy.
Yeah.
Because now they're saying with like Meta and stuff, like it's um they're using AI, so they're gonna use AI, like AI is gonna start like studying our pictures and stuff, and
Yeah.
that's terrifying.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Illinois made me cry though. That performance made me cry.
that was gorgeous. I love Sufjan Stevens' music, and then the dancers, they just they swept me away.
I
And beautiful with the music they were making. I wanted to get comps to see that, but they were kind of strict with their comps for it. I think maybe
yeah.
because meant, but
Mm.
oh, I want to see it so
I
bad.
I didn't expect to cry at just movements, but like I cried.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is.
Yeah.
And the actor who plays the main character, I think Henry, kind of looks like Sufjan Stevens.
Mhm.
I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I thought that was interesting.
Um, well, thank you for coming on.
Of course.
So before we head off, how about you tell everyone where they can find your all of your courses?
Yeah, so my social media, it's Broadway Bopo everywhere. So Broadway BO, P as in Peter, O. So Bopo short for body positive or body positivity. And Facebook, TikTok, um Twitter, I still call it Twitter, Threads, Instagram, YouTube. Am I missing any social media platforms? I don't use Tumblr. I don't use I don't know. I'm trying to think. I think that's it. Um, but on Facebook, I am offering. So you can subscribe to my Facebook page, and I have this deal that for $9.99, um, you'll be part of a private group where you could share any self tapes, any practice you're doing, and I, as an audition coach, I will give you feedback on it. And it's unlimited. You could send me as much stuff as you want, and I will do my darnest to get back to all of it. So if you're like if you're having a hard time picking between takes for a self tape, if you're working on a monologue, you just want to see what you could do better, or like or a song. Same with songwriting. I also do feedback on songwriting because I'm a songwriter. Just let me just join, and I can't wait to get to know y'all.
Thank you again for coming on, Stephanie. It was so lovely to have you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Woohoo!